us at 457-9997. Rise and shine. Let's get ready to take on the day. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right. You know, once you hear Activated Mornings on WEFM, and once you hear a lovely Christmas instrumental to get you stretching out, well, if you're driving, you shouldn't really be stretching, but, you know, maybe you'll just open your eyes a little bit brighter. You know, it's Activated Mornings with Roleza and Dianna on the Clean Fresh Sound. So let me just say a wonderful good morning to you wherever you are. If you're at home relaxing, how nice. If you're not at home relaxing, if you're at work like us, good morning. If you're on your way to work, good morning to you. Hoping that you get there safely and on time. All right. Really, Zach, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I did.
You did. Hello, we did.
I did fighting the good fight.
Rastafari. All right. Good morning to SVG and good morning to those in the regional and international diaspora. Hope that you guys are doing A-okay. It is Thursday. Yeah, it is Thursday. We're pressing on. All right. So hoping that everybody is doing fine, that you're having a great week so far, and you are on the countdown. You have exactly 20 more days till Christmas Day. All right. For those of you who are officially counted down. So hope that you're getting your preparations together. You're not going to be waiting till last minute to get this or that done. And if you're just not in the Christmas mood or just not in the Christmas spirit, hope that you actually look forward to the days so that you get some rest, right? Because I know not everybody is in the Christmas spirit. So
True.
Be what it is. It is what it is. And we just have to press and go on, right? So just want to say good morning to Joshua and Anne, already hitting us up very early this morning.
Morning, Joshua. And listeners, tell us, send us a message. How your Christmas preparations going? For those of you that are absolutely in love with Christmas, and it's so interesting when you go into the stores in town during this time, when you hear, you just the things you hear and the things you see. Some persons are just really serious about their Christmas preparations. So tell us how it's going. Have you bought your cushions? For those who still have cushions, buying cushion covers and cushions, and have you taken out that new couch as yet? If you're going to take out a new couch, what's happening? You bought your ham yet? I hear the hams. Whew.
Yeah. I don't know. You know how, I probably shouldn't even have this conversation. My whole thing is the stress with ham, right? Most of frozen ham is having to go and cook it and then, to try to get the meat off.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it so tedious and so annoying that I would eat other people's ham. I'm not cooking no ham myself.
Or maybe you could hire somebody to cook your ham for you. You need a ham slicer.
Maybe. I actually thought that somebody should. I don't know if somebody actually has it as a business, but I thought about it a year where, this whole stress of you having to do this ham. Do we have persons who could actually just cook the ham for you and then we just purchase it from them, But I know that going to send up price because it's gas been had to go up and all kind of other things. So it's the price of people going to pay plus the price of the purchase for the ham, So
correct.
We gotta see how it go. But I mean, the thing too is that there are substitutes that you can have instead of ham. And every Christmas plate need to have ham. I know one time I had something and then somebody's like, "What do you ham?" I was like, "Excuse me." Every plate don't have to have ham, okay? So the thing of it is with the Christmas season is you do what your budget can afford to do, right? You don't have to go to the extremes. And a lot of the time I see people cooking all of these multiple dishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's fine to have these multiple dishes, these variety of meats in particular, but at the end of it, your stomach could only hold so much.
That's true.
Right? So while it is that we want to play
stomach does get extra space for Christmas.
Well, I don't know about the extra space because especially if you're cooking By the time you finish cooking and that food send full up your stomach.
That's true.
You can't eat. You only nibbling, but you can't eat. Yes, the next day you might be able to eat properly, but your plate don't have to have so much stuff. All right, folks. So everything in moderation.
All right. So don't forget, tell us how your Christmas preparations going. Are you sending any barrels? Cough, cough. Let's know. All right. All right, then. So we're heading into our topic of discussion this morning. And you know, one of the biggest things that's talked about, not just in SVG, but across the Caribbean and the world by extension, it's crime. You're always hearing about crime. Just recently, we had 3 persons being killed over the weekend there, right? Now, interesting things pop up in the news all the time, right? So our topic this morning, the press secretary of the Prime Minister,
Press officer.
The press, Lord, please forgive me. The press officer, my bad. The press officer of the Prime Minister has said that we do not have an increase in crime. Okay, he says that. Well, let me get the facts so that I can spell them out for you, right? But he says that there really isn't an increase in crime based on the statistics that he got. He said that he got some statistics from the CID department, and the statistics are for the period right up to last. Look at me trying to remember if last month was November. Right, up to last month, November, right? So according to the statistics, there have been nationally just about 3,400 reported cases of crime, all the different headings, all the different subsections of the crime, 3,400, right? So all the criminal activities, big, small, great, not great, that is included in the 3,400, right? The figure at the end of December last year was 4,100. So the figure for up to November this year is 34, but last year it was 4,100, right? So he's saying that there actually has not been an increase in crime. What we're seeing, he says, is a reduction in crime actually. And that's an average outside of the monthly of just 110 cases of reported crime at the CID nationally. The average is 300 per month, right? He says that over the last 2 years, what we have seen is an increase in gun-related crimes and not necessarily crimes, in itself. It was interesting to hear this because, many persons would say, why is he the one saying this, but why isn't it coming from someone else that is involved in national security or in law enforcement or something like that, right? That's what the persons have been saying. But there you have it. That's what the press officer of the Prime Minister said. Really, is that what you think?
He isn't incorrect because earlier this year, the police, I think it was during a press conference at the start of the year, when they did also, when Acting Commissioner of Police Enfield Williams also did indicate that there has been a downward trend in terms of crimes that is happening in terms of the overall statistics. So Candyman isn't incorrect in terms of what he's saying, because that information that we got earlier this year, in January of this year, does lend to supporting that. But I think why it is that for persons, they're not necessarily going to see the impact or feel the impact is because we have an increasing number of gun-related crimes. So we are going to be a little bit more alarmed with regards to those type of crimes, right? So while it is that we can commend the police or maybe citizens on a whole in terms of there being a reduction in crime, the point is at this particular point within our crime stats where it relates to gun-related crimes, there needs to be a greater effort and there needs to be a greater focus, right? So the press officer has said what he has said, but the stats in terms of what the police have provided corroborates what he is saying, all right? So...
And another interesting thing, just to note, is that SVG is ranked number 2 in the Caribbean for homicide rates in the Caribbean. I was heartbroken to hear that, but these things usually are measured according to the number of killings according to the population size, right? So based on based on all of that, SVG is number 2 in the Caribbean for homicide rates, my dear people. So there's that bit of information there for us, all right?
All right, and just to note that if we are looking for South America and the Caribbean, number 1 is Jamaica. We rank 2nd, and Trinidad and Tobago rank 3rd. Now remember that Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, they're in the millions in terms of their population size, right? We are 110,000 now. If the recent birth rates thing stats, we're about like 100,000, because I think the stats said that we did decrease over how much ever years, right? So it's based on per capita. What it is, I did note in an article that I came across. When was this? This was in what year was this? Let me try not to see it here. Anyway, it was saying that we were ranked 7th at that time. I'm trying to see. This was 2 years ago. What now is 2024? So around 2023, we were ranked. My maths, 2022. Good, geez. All right. We were ranked 7th at that point in time. All right. So, of course, this isn't news that we want to hear. I still suppose the question to be asked is, for the greater majority of Vincentians, do we feel as though we are living in fair in a sense, right? Because when you look at cases like in Trinidad or Jamaica, right, even in the US, let's say New York, etc., becoming a victim of random crime is, to me, it's a bit greater in those places than it is here in SVG, right? Yeah. We don't necessarily hear of a lot of instances. There may be instances, yes, but we don't hear a lot of instances happening here in SVG. Well, let's say you're walking on the street and things are snatched off of you, right? Somebody who's taking, let's say, jewelry off of you might do it in a kind of way where you don't even realize that it's missing, but you're not necessarily feeling it snatched off of you. You're not necessarily being stuck up with a gun and being robbed, right? So the other thing that what tends to happen with most of our crime, well, gun-related crimes, is that it seems targeted in terms of its persons who are involved in criminal activity. Now, I'm not saying that this is okay or it's a justification or an excuse, but you tend to see that gun-related crimes in particular happen to persons who already have a criminal past. All right, so coming out of all of it, even though we are being ranked number 2 based on this particular statistics, the question that for me, I would prefer to ask is, do Vincentians actually still feel safe here in SVG? And again, for my part, my answer is still yes. Okay.
One of the interesting things about that, I just sat and thought about it, is from the outside, it's usually so different when you're looking and hearing things about people's countries and how dangerous it is and what's happening. But people live there, right? People live there, and if you ask many of the people that live there, they would not share the same sentiment as somebody that's looking on from the outside.
Which is true, because it was the same thing that before I went to Trinidad to study, I was fearful. I was very afraid of going because of the type of when you are hearing of Trinidad in the news, it's a lot of crime-related things that you were hearing. But living there was a different story, right? I knew not necessarily to be out late at night. If I was out late amongst persons, right? If we had to leave campus or had to leave anyway, we went together as a grouping, right? It was only when I lived off campus where one particular incident almost happened. I think somebody was probably trying to break in, but see the person walk with their phone and they had their phone on. So the phone went off, right? So because of that, they realized that I was alert and they scampered off, right? But in terms of, as Dianna is correctly saying, when you live there or when you experience going to these other countries, it's not necessarily as frightening as in terms of the news that you hear coming out of these countries. So,
yeah. All right, so we are going to head out of this talk segment at this time. Remember, coming up at 7:35, we will be bringing to you WEFM's Traffic Talk. All right, so stay tuned.
People's Pharmacy, for all your